Are you looking for a super quick guide to all the absolute best things to see, do, and eat at this year's Festival of the Arts? Well, my friends, you're in luck because that is exactly what we're here to show you. Let's go do it. Hi-ho everybody, this is Rob with the Ear Scouts coming to you from opening weekend at the Epcot International Festival of the Arts for 2025. We have spent the last 3 days eating every single food item at this festival so we can share with you our picks for the best things to eat while you're here. But if you're wondering, what about all those other food items that we're not going to mention in today's video? I have great news. Just head on over to earscouts.com/arts, all lowercase, and you're gonna find our guide to this festival with our reviews of every single food item. And best of all, check this out, we've got a little menu right there at the top. You wanna see those reviews for Tangerine Cafe? Just tap, boom, there you go. Once you got the information you need, tap on return to menu. It is super easy. So bookmark this page. It's going to be very helpful to you as you travel around World Showcase exploring this festival. We have got a whole lot of stuff to cover in a very short period of time, so we're going to jump right to it. I'll meet you guys over at one of the newest festival food booths at Communicore Hall. At the center of World Celebration behind Spaceship Earth, you're going to find the new epicenter of festivals here at Epcot, Communicore Hall. This has been a long time coming, but it is finally here and it is finally firing on all cylinders. There's a festival stage, there's a food booth, and finally the hall itself is all decked out for this festival. We got some really cool things that we're about to show you inside, but first, let's talk about the food. The food booth opening bites is also the very first step on the wonderful walk of colorful cuisine. If you've never done one of these festivals before, there's always kind of a food scavenger hunt that you can do. Grab your festival passport, and in the back, you're gonna find a spot where you can collect stamps. When you purchase specific items, we'll show them on this video with a little artist palette. When you purchase any of those items, you get a stamp on your passport. Once you collect all 5 stamps that you need, you head on over to Deco Delights. They'll give you the final stamp and they'll give you a special treat. This year, it's kind of a fancy dancy Rice Krispie treat with Figment on there. There's also some Fruity Pebbles mixed in. The treat is fine, but really the reason you want to do this is just because it's a fun activity and you get to try a bunch of delicious, colorful food from around the festival. The colorful food item here is the Enchanted Rose, and this is one of my favorite stamps to get because it's a really unique treat. It's beautiful and artistic, which of course is what you want when you're here at the Festival of the Arts. It makes for a great photo, and it also makes for an even greater dessert, especially if you've got an adventurous palate. So the outer layer is going to be a rich milk chocolate mousse, but it's the inside where things start to get really interesting because there's this blend of raspberry and rose. I normally don't like rose water desserts because I find them overpoweringly floral, but the raspberry really cuts it. And we also really like the cookie that's on the bottom. It's like a chocolate shortbread cookie, and it adds a little bit of crunch to an otherwise creamy dessert. While that rose is the main reason we're here at this booth, I have to also mention the amazing soft shell crab slider. If you watch this channel, you know I don't particularly like seafood. It's not one of my favorite things, but Eric does love seafood. He's the other half of Ear Scouts, and he can vouch that this slider is really good. The reason I want to mention it though is because it's really special. For the uninitiated, soft shell crabs are only available for a very short period of time in the year. So this is kind of a rare treat to be able to get. If you've never had one before, you might be surprised to discover that you actually eat the entire crab. They catch them while their shells are still forming, so they're not quite hard and crunchy yet, and you're able to eat the whole thing. This is a really good slider. There's some papaya slaw in there that gives it a nice crunch. The crab itself is battered and deep fried, which almost always equals delicious, and the presentation is just really cute. I think the main reason you want to get this though is because it's such a unique item that you can only get this time of year. While you're here at Communicore Hall, you're going to want to check out the festival stage that's behind the hall. That's where you're going to find different musical performances, Probably my favorite thing on this stage though is Trevor Carlton. His show is called Visual Art in Performance, and it is a true performance. He's got dance music playing the whole time he paints, and it's just amazing to watch a painting come to life right before your very eyes. Let's go check it out.
Please welcome to the stage Disney fine art artist Trevor Carlton.
It's cold, but the sun's out. We're gonna have some fun right now. You guys ready?
Okay.
You can actually purchase that work of art that he is painting up on the stage. Just make sure to let him know if you're interested before the show even starts, because those works that are painted up on the stage tend to sell super fast. And finally, we're gonna head inside Communicore Hall because the grand vision that was promised has finally come to reality. For a while there, the hall just sort of felt like, I don't know, a study hall or something. It was just kind of an empty room. For Festival of the Holidays, we got a little upgrade. There was a cool spaceship Earth display in there. But now for Festival of the Arts, it has definitely reached its full potential. There is an amazing display celebrating the 30th anniversary of Disney on Broadway. Let's go check it out. In addition to the Disney on Broadway exhibition, you're gonna find a little festival store in the back, and they did a really good job with the store this time. Look up and you're gonna find none other than Figment himself in his dressing room. I was actually pretty surprised at how lavish Figment's dressing room is. He's almost at the level of Miss Piggy, I think. And with that, we are off to our next stop, which happens to be my absolute favorite booth from this entire festival. Let's go check it out. Our next stop is Craftsman's Courtyard. Every single thing we ordered here was delicious, including the brand new version of the beef Wellington. This Wellington is a massive upgrade from last year. The croissant wrapping is buttery and flaky with rich cream spinach along the inside edge, but it gets even more indulgent with the mushroom and gorgonzola cheese sauce and the slices of tender, juicy flank steak. This thing is just firing on all cylinders. It is so good. I think I'm gonna call it. I think this was our absolute favorite thing that we tried. Next up, I wanna talk about the mussels. These things are so fresh. They serve them to you directly from the fire. They're grilling them right outside the booth. I don't care for seafood. I actually ate 2 or 3 of these. I really like them. They have a strong garlic and tomato flavor from the sauce. If you're a big garlic fan, these are a must. They come with some grilled bread, and I just wanted to dip that grilled bread in the sauce and sop it up. It was so good. And finally, they have one of our favorite returning items from last year. Now, last year this was over in Canada, but they've moved it here to Craftsman's Courtyard. It is a bone marrow dish. If you've never had bone marrow, don't let that scare you off. I know it sounds a little weird to eat bone marrow. It is really delicious. It comes with a sweet onion marmalade, and then there are these pickled mushrooms that add a little punch of sourness, and then you've got that grilled bread again. If you've never had bone marrow, this is a great place to try it out for the first time. There's a lot of delicious food to experience all around this festival, but if you're pressed for time and you've only got one booth, this is the one you want to check out. Next, we are channeling our inner Andy Warhol and heading over to Pop Eats. This is a perennial favorite booth, especially if you're looking for a comfort food classic on a cold day like today. It's a little chilly, a little windy, a little gray, and tomato soup served in a classic pop art can with a grilled cheese really hits the spot. There's kind of a standard kiddie version, and then there is an adult version, and that is the one we are here to talk about. This one has pimento cheese inside with bacon and a fried green tomato. Yes, here in the South, for some reason, we even deep fry our tomatoes. You will thank us after you try it. This sandwich is so stinking good, I came for it 3 days in a row. We always like this, but I don't know, this year it was just insanely good. Eric and I both agreed this was the best this sandwich has ever been. The tomato soup is really nice and bright. It's got a zippy tang to it. And then they put creme fraiche on top, which balances out that zippy tang with a little bit of creaminess. On a cool day, this is the perfect treat to warm you up. Before we make our way around World Showcase, we have one last stop on the wonderful walk of colorful cuisine here at the front of the park. Behind me is the Deconstructed dish. This is another one of those booths that is a favorite year after year because it's so creative. The food is playful and delicious. They take classics that you know and love, like a BLT or key lime pie, and then they deconstruct them into a work of art. But the best part is you can reconstruct them with your fork or spoon and it becomes a symphony in your mouth. There are all these wonderful different textures that you're not expecting, but when they all come together, it is that flavor that you know and love. The one we're here to talk about today is the Deconstructed key lime pie. This is the item that's on the wonderful walk. There is this wonderful key lime curd at the center of this dish, but then there's another kind of a lime mousse. That's that thing that's shaped like a lime there. That is bright and fresh and a little bit lighter than that curd. There's some crunchy meringues, and then there's this little dense kind of graham cracker cake that it's fine on its own. It's good, it's not bad, but it's when you put them all together that it is just delicious. This booth is just so fun and inventive. I feel like it really captures the spirit of Festival of the Arts better than any of the other booths here. So if you're doing the wonderful walk, this is a must visit. As you enter into World Showcase, right here near port of entry, you're gonna find one of my favorite artists who has a booth set up, Rob Kaz. There are 3 booths that I always check out every Festival of the Arts, and Rob Kaz is the first of those 3. When you're here for Festival of the Arts, you definitely want to take some time to check out the amazing art that's on display. Pretty much all of it is available for sale, and it is the perfect souvenir to take home with you. The other great thing about getting art here, though, is that you can often meet the artists themselves, have a chat with them, and if you pick up a piece of their art, you can get it signed, and in many cases, they'll also ship it to you, so you don't have to worry about packing it in your suitcase. Let's go see if we can have a quick chat with Rob Kaz while we're over here, and we're gonna look at some of his amazing art.
So for me, storytelling is the #1 thing about what I do. I absolutely love catching those moments that we all experience. Crashing on the bed after a long day of travel, we've all been there. But, you know, in some ways it could be Stitch grabbing that Dole Whip. It's all about what we love and do here in the parks.
One piece that I really love that's new this year is Figment flying over Epcot with the Dreamfinder. Do you miss the old version of Journey into Imagination?
I'll play the party line on this one and be like, change is part of life and we love to experience new things here. I'm joking. No, I miss it. I love it.
Our first stop in the World Showcase is going to be the Germany Pavilion, and there is so much amazing stuff to taste and experience from this year's festival. We're going to start with the food over at Pastoral Palate. This is one of those booths that every year just knocks it out of the park. They updated one of their dishes that had been gone for a little while. They have a cassoulet. This year it features some smoked sausage on top, but if you've never had cassoulet, this is one of those just wonderful, warm, comforting dishes. The story of cassoulet is actually really cool. There was this village in France that was being invaded by the British Army, and all the townspeople came together to feed the troops that were defending their town. And so they basically took all the things that they had in their pantries and threw it in a big pot, and the result was cassoulet. There were some beans, but mainly Suddenly, there was every meat you can possibly imagine, and that is typically how cassoulet is prepared. This year's version of it features a smoked sausage on top, and there's definitely kind of a smokiness permeating the whole dish this year. It is warm and comforting and delicious. They've also brought back the Black Forest cake, which is more like a Black Forest mousse. I think there's more mousse in there than cake. There's some tart cherries there at the center that really play nicely against all that rich chocolate flavor. And last but certainly not least, they have brought back one of my favorite braised beef dishes. This thing is so tender, you don't even have to use your fork. You just nudge it and it just falls apart. It's served on top of a bed of pureed parsnips that are really rich. You can tell there's a lot of butter going into those parsnips. And then to cut all that richness, they've got some broccoli and some tomatoes on the side. They're like confit tomatoes, so they're cooked. Everything at this booth is a winner. It's so good, especially if you're kind of more of a meat and potatoes kind of person. This is a booth you're definitely going to want to check out. But food is not the only reason that we're here in Germany. You remember I said there are 3 art booths that I always check out? Well, the other 2 are right here in Germany. One is the McCullough Art Gallery. It's a husband and wife team, Greg and Nat McCullough. And next door to them is another one of our favorite artists, Scooter. Let's go check them out. My favorite thing about your work, all of the little hidden details that you put in, the hidden Mickeys, the references to attractions.
I'm like most of us, we've all been searching hidden Mickeys. So my hidden Mickeys in the paintings were from the very beginning. So I don't know, it just feels natural to me. Do you know what I used to do?
Oh, wow.
2009, 10, and 11. That's my logo. I painted the logo for those 3 years.
That's so wonderful.
You still see the pin trading logo. That's about all you see. I don't do illustrations anymore. This was the shopping bag before what we have right now.
Also, I wanted to mention the work that we see here is both yours and your wife's as well.
She never painted before 5 years ago, and now she's just killing it. I'm her biggest fan.
Scooter Burroughs, who most people just know by his nickname Scooter, got his start as a Disney animator. Believe it or not only was he a Disney animator, he did his animation work right here at Walt Disney World. Back in the day, Hollywood Studios was a working studio where they made several of the animated films you know and love, and Scooter actually worked on those movies, including Lilo and Stitch and one of our favorites, Brother Bear. One of my favorite things about your artwork, number one, it's not like anything else that you see here, especially the mid-century pieces.
Yes.
What was it that inspired you to work in that style?
Well, I would say if I had to pick one thing, my parents and grandparents decorated a certain way, and my mom had these 2 cats that were wooden carved mid-century modern, and I didn't know what mid-century was at the time, but even just growing up as a kid, I loved the design of these cats. And so that really kind of started my love for what I now know as mid-century modern.
For me, I'm a Disney Parks geek.
Yes.
And the idea that not only did you work as a Disney animator, you worked as a Disney animator at Hollywood Studios. That was where you came to the office. What was that like?
It was amazing. It was like going to the best art school. I love being there. Here's a funny story. So when we were doing overtime at the end of a film, and it would get crazy. This was Hunchback. I might get in trouble for this. But it was so crazy. We're working like every day, for like the last 3 months, you'd work every single day, maybe like 10 hours on a film. So you'd go crazy. So at night, we had an animation golf cart. And so we took that golf cart around inside of MGM. We would take it downstairs, all the places we were not supposed to go. We actually rolled it one time. So that was kind of one of our ways of just like kind of cutting loose at the end of the day, just like I have to go get crazy and kind of just blow off some steam.
How cool was that? I love how accessible the artists are here at Festival of the Arts. And speaking of artists being accessible, you might hear some Broadway show tunes in the background right now because we are going through the American Adventure Pavilion. And here at the America Gardens Theater, you're gonna find Disney on Broadway. Every night of the festival, there are different performers from Disney on Broadway. So if you're a big fan of Disney on Broadway and you love that exhibit up front, you're definitely going to love this. Our next stop around the World Showcase you'll find between Morocco and France. It is Vibrante and Vívido, which is a kitchen celebrating the food and culture of Colombia, which is, of course, the setting for the movie Encanto. I actually had a chance to sit down and chat with a family from Colombia, and they said that they were surprised at how authentic the flavors were here. There's an empanada, which is on the wonderful Walk of Colorful Cuisine. There's also a soup, which, to be fair, we've enjoyed that soup a lot more in previous years than we did this year. You can read more about that on the website. But the item that we are here to talk about is the passion fruit filled mango cheesecake. This was our favorite dessert last year, and it is pretty close to the top of the list again this year. At the base, you've got a coconut pineapple cake, and then you've got some dragon fruit gelée kind of on the top there. There's a dragon fruit strawberry sauce, and in the middle of this cheesecake, you're gonna find a passion fruit center. The cheesecake itself is infused with mango flavor. If you're a fan of tropical fruits and a fan of cheesecake, you are going to meet your new favorite dessert here at Vibrante and Vívido. Now, you may have noticed that a lot of the food we've been talking about today has a lot of meat in it, but I am pleased to report that our final stop here on the World Showcase is going to be for the plant-based eaters out there. This was by far our favorite booth for plant-based eating. Let's head over to Gourmet Landscapes in Canada. Not only is this one of the most beautiful pavilions in the World Showcase, it also usually has some of the best food, and this festival is no exception. What is unique this time, though, is that both of the food items on the menu at Gourmet Landscapes are plant-based. There's a wonderful Walk of Colorful Cuisine item, which is a beet tartare. This one is definitely only for the beet lovers. I'm not a huge beet fan, but if you love beets, you're gonna love this dish because it's got a strong, earthy flavor to it. But what we're actually here to talk about is the risotto. This risotto is insane. It's so good and so creamy and so rich that I actually went back to the booth and I was like, are you sure this is plant-based? I was like, how is this made without dairy? They assured me every single bit of this dish is plant-based. I don't know how they did that Parmesan cheese, and I don't know how they got the risotto itself to be so creamy and rich, but whatever magic Disney is using, it is definitely working. Even if you're not a plant-based eater, if you love mushroom and risotto, put this on your list. It is delicious. It even has some actual shaved truffle on top. If you've only ever had truffle oil or truffle butter before, wait until you try this shaved truffle. It is light years beyond the flavors you get from those oils and butters. It's so good. So for both my vegetarian friends and my carnivorous friends, I definitely recommend a stop here in Canada. And unfortunately, this is our final stop in today's video. However, if you want to see all of the other food items that we weren't able to talk about today, we're going to do a rapid fire reviews video over on our Patreon channel, and we're going to make that free to all of our members. So you don't have to have a paid membership. Even a free membership will get you access to that rapid fire review video. We're also probably going to put up over there the full video of our interviews that we did with the artists today. So I do want to give a huge thank you before we go to our Patreon family. Thank you all so much for supporting what we do here at Ear Scouts and making videos like this possible. If you'd like to join them and get access to exclusive bonus content, head on over to patreon.com/Ear Scouts. And of course, don't forget, all of the reviews are also available on our website at earscouts.com/arts. If you found this video helpful, we definitely would recommend go check out our Lightning Lane guide to Epcot, because one thing that Lightning Lane can definitely do is help you free up more time in your day to enjoy festivals like this one. And our Lightning Lane guide will show you how to get the most out of that service. We'll put a link to that at the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, help us out by giving it a like, subscribing to our channel, and then ringing that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever new videos like this come out. Until next time, don't forget to think happy thoughts, everybody. We'll see you again real soon.